And welcome back to Community Focus, and we appreciate you tuning in and sticking around with us. We got a lot of great information today, and this is a place that I learned a lot as well. And I'm sitting here talking to Jessie Ann Wells, and appreciate you coming in for the Daughters of the American Revolution, which I know literally very little or nothing about. So I do. It's an education, and that's what we love about this show. And well, first of all, tell us a little bit about.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me on.
Well, appreciate you being here.
And the Daughters of the American Revolution started in about 1890, and the Kentucky Society started in 1891. We currently have 85 chapters in the state of Kentucky. I am an honorary Kentucky State Regent, which means that I have finished a 3-year term and then was elected as an honorary state regent for life. And my chapter locally in Nelson County is called Cox's Station Chapter, and it was organized in 1998. And we try to focus on our veterans, Project Patriot, which is active duty veterans and their families. We try to work with youth. We sponsor a CAR, which is Children of the American Revolution chapter. And we're hoping, we've been working for the last year or so, trying to get an SAR, which is a Sons of the American Revolution chapter started in Nelson County. And we have some interest in that, but we need more people to step up and become interested and learn more about it.
Well, you're going back in the 1890s, so obviously, the first thing comes to my mind when I think about that is I'm thinking we're talking a little history here somewhere as well.
A lot of history.
So the American Revolution, obviously, we talk about veterans, we think of Vietnam, the Gulf War, and Korea, and things like that, but your veterans go back a little bit further than that.
Yes, they do. Speaking of the Vietnam era, we have a special project going on now with the National DAR. It's the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of Vietnam. So we have been, for the last year and this coming year, we'll be doing emphasis for supporting our veterans and just saying thank you to them for the service that they provided for us.
Okay. Well, again, what kind of, now if you have, I guess you have regular meetings and things of that nature?
Yes.
Describe what a meeting is going to look like if I came to a meeting one night.
Okay. We have a ritual. We always start with a scripture and a prayer. It's part of the ritual. We say the pledge to the flag of the United States of America. We say the American's Creed. We sometimes sing the national anthem, but that's part of our ritual that we do.
Yeah.
And then we have different programs that we bring in, but we focus on community events, things that we need to do in the community support, because DAR actually is a service organization. People don't realize that it's a service organization of women 18 years of age on up. And another thing that people don't know about the DAR is that it's the only lineage society that is mandated by Congress to make a report through the Smithsonian every year. So people think, oh, you're just,
Yeah, just a club.
You're just, yes, believe me, we're not
You
a
don't
club.
like the word club.
We are not a club.
But going back to DAR again, and I know you mentioned off the air that you've got ancestors that go all the way back to the American Revolution, and I'm
Yes.
sure a lot of people in the organization probably does as well.
Well, that's one of the requirements. You have to prove blood lineage back to a patriot. And the patriot did not have to necessarily be a soldier, although most were. But you could have been, the ancestor could have been a civil servant. He could have been a sheriff or someone who served on a jury. I even know of one where he was mandated to work on a road, and that proved service.
And what time period was that?
This is during the Revolutionary War.
During the
period.
Revolutionary War.
Yes, and it stops in 1783. So there are a lot of people in Nelson County, and another thing too, so many of our ancestors came from Virginia and that area through Kentucky as they moved on west, and there are many, many records in Nelson County. We have a wonderful library.
Does somebody have to do the genealogy themselves, or will you all help them do the genealogy, or how would you go about finding out? Like, I have no idea if I have anybody related to the American Revolution on either side.
What we do is that even though it's the responsibility of every individual to provide their own, what we require, the first 3 generations you have to provide information and proofs for generations 1 through 3. You'd be first generation if you were an SAR, and then your parents and your grandparents. And after that, people can pick up and help you go track on back. So there's already a lot of information already proven. We have databases. If you happen to know your ancestor, we can go online and find out that ancestor, get those papers. you tie into those papers, makes it real easy.
Mm,
And then we also have chapter registrars. Fern Blandford is our chapter registrar, and she's very helpful with people. She meets people at times at the library in Bardstown, and will help people to do research there. So you're not always just on your own, and so many people have no idea whether they can track back to an ancestor or not.
Well, I've never done much genealogy. I've always figured out most of them be down in Nelson County Jail, so I don't know if I want to go that route or not.
Well, we laugh, and some people are hesitant, and they say, "Well, what if I have a horse thief in my background?"
Exactly.
You know, and the comment to that is, then he's documented.
Exactly. Hopefully he's a horse thief for the right side.
So you know, it's what it is, and you don't change history.
Exactly. You can't change that. Now, you talked earlier about you have meetings, but you do some field trips. I know you might start going out marking graves or something of that nature.
We have been very fortunate being able to tie this in this year. We've started first this year. We had the marking at Lutheran Church Cemetery, and we actually have two Revolutionary War soldiers buried there. We can't prove the second one yet. We also had John McGee was done this year, and which is Jimmy McGee's ancestor. And he is new into SAR, by the way. And he's getting more and more involved, and we're glad of that. We had the most recent one was actually the most recent one was in LaRue County, and we had one of our chapter members, Jennifer Brown, whose ancestor was marked, whose burial site was marked in LaRue County. The 1st of November marked my ancestor's grave, or the commemorative grave for Robert Samuels. And if you know the T.W. Samuels, that's the same family. So, and Bill Samuels Jr. was there too, so gave a little history on the Samuels family, his part of it. And it was a fun day to do that. But we like to pay tribute to our ancestors. And so we do this also, New Salem, that same day. We did 2 ceremonies. We had another ceremony, paid tribute to 4 Vietnam veterans who are buried at New Salem. So we did 2 things the same day, paying tribute to people.
Well, that's fascinating. Like I said, it's anything to do with history and stuff of that nature. It's just fascinating to track people. I know there's some people, I've talked to several people in this area that's related to Daniel Boone or somebody of that nature. And you don't think about it. I mean, Abraham Lincoln actually, but you going back to the American Revolution even goes back even further, that we have people that are actually directly linked to the what started this country, the birth of our nation.
Yes, and people here don't realize so many of us are related to each other. If you go back about 4 or 5 generations, and oh, you're really a cousin. You just didn't know it.
Yeah, I've got an aunt that's really big into genealogy, and believe me, it's very detailed, because she's got some stuff that it just blows me away trying to keep up with it all. But it's very interesting.
It's interesting, and some people get turned off. They think, well, it's history or something. It's family history, and if you love your family, you can learn more and more about your family.
Even the scoundrels, they're okay.
That's right. That's right.
That's what makes us who we are. Well,
That's right.
Well, Marion, appreciate you being in here today. And if somebody wants to join the Daughters of the American Revolution or one of these chapters, how do they get a hold of you or to find out just more information?
Well, we have a postal box. It's Post Box 412 in Cox's Creek. They can drop a line there, or they can go online, and my email is wellsjh@bardstown.com. And then I can direct them to our chapter registrar. So, you know, there are many ways that they can get in touch with us.
Sounds like a great organization. It sounds
it
like
is.
everybody has a pretty good time when they get together.
Well, we do have a good time. Our emphasis not only on the veterans, we are deep into education for children, the historic preservation. We're in the process, too, of doing a historical marking for Bardstown Baptist Church in 2015, and because that church will become 200 years old in 2015. So we do commemorative markings, actual grave markings for ancestors, and also for historic sites. So we're big into historic preservation, as well as patriotism and so forth.
Well, Mary Ann Wells here with the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Jessie Ann.
Wells. Let me get I knew I was going to mess that up before it was over with, but Jessie Ann Wells. here with the American Revolution, Daughters of the American Revolution, and we appreciate you tuning in. And hopefully you've learned a little bit. I've learned her name, so I haven't done anything else. But again, it's a great history. And the sad part is, and you touched on just a second ago before we get away, is talking about the youngsters.
It's very important.
History was not important to me growing up. Now in the last several years, as I've gotten older, history has become very important to me, and it's something that I've become interested in. So hopefully we can spark an interest in somebody, and hopefully young people can spark an interest, because it's just people such as you that are keeping history alive and keeping it going and keeping it relevant. You know, that we're related to these people.
Yes, we are, and we currently have 74 members of Cox's Station, and a lot of them are interested and involved in different committee work. We have the lady who's working with our children is doing a fantastic job too. So, you know, we just keep on with doing what we think we need to do.
Okay, well, Jessie Ann, I appreciate you being here, and we do appreciate you tuning in here at Community Focus, and we're talking about the Daughters of the American Revolution, and we're going to be here every week, so stick around. We've got a lot of things coming on in the community, whether it's historical, whether it's educational, or maybe just a little bit of fun. So stick around, Channel 6 TV, Central Kentucky TV. I'm Kenny Fogle saying so long. We'll see you next time on Community Focus. Take care, everybody.